Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Vince Ganzberg. He's the Director of Coaching Education at the United Soccer Coaches. Welcome, Vince.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Funny thing is, Vince and I actually worked the old IU camps back 20 years ago together, and it's been a while, that's for sure. But great to have you. And this is going to be a little bit different than most of our other podcasts, just because we're not talking to a college coach, but I think it's great having you because you're going to give us a little bit of different perspective on some things. So for for folks out there who may not know who you are, Vince, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got to be where you are at this point in your soccer career?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hopefully not, we don't need more time. But uh, no, I'm a high school teacher and coach by trade. I went to Bethel College, now Bethel University, who just won a NAI national championship. So shout out to them and their great coach, Tiago Pinto. So yeah, I was a teacher and a coach. Did that for 14 years. I took a little break as the Indiana State Director of Coaching Education, and that's actually, I think, when I met you. That's what I was doing. I just became the Indiana Soccer State Director of Coaching, and after that, I went back into high school teaching for a few years and coaching, and after that, I was like, well, what in the heck was I thinking? Because I'm governed by bills and walls. So then I left high school teaching and coaching and became involved with U.S. soccer. They asked me to be a coaching education consultant. So my main job was design the F license online. So I did that. And then I also kind of oversaw the E and the D license curriculums and the C license curriculum at the time and taught them, everywhere. So, and then after that, I had a choice to go to NSCAA, now United Soccer Coaches, and they allow me to work remote. So I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, while our office is in Kansas City. So my background's primarily teaching, and how I got here today. I'll be honest with you. I've had some very fortunate people that have come across my life. I think that God put people in my life, just to get me here. And Mike Berticelli, the late Mike Berticelli being one of them, and just some other people that I've had the pleasure of, working with and working alongside. So as far as, I'm still a high school coach. I coach at a local high school down the street from where I live, and I love it. So that's just a little bit about me, but I'm a high school teacher by trade.
Okay. Well, and now you were at was it St. Joe's High School? Is that where you're
I
at now, or is that where you used to coach?
No, that was when that's when I used to coach
Oh, okay.
back in the early 90s.
Okay.
And I probably need to apologize to all those kids that I coached before because I was a yeller and a screamer. And I mean, we were successful, don't get me wrong, but that was a lot of it. But it was because the kids were really talented.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do too much. But yes, so I taught and coached at South Bend St. Joe. And then I went to LaPorte High School. So I
Okay.
went from coaching a state championship to starting a brand new program at
Oh, wow.
LaPorte High School,
Okay.
right? And
Awesome.
they plowed a soybean field and made a soccer complex for us, and then did that for 8 years, and then I
Huh.
coached in Elkhart
Okay.
my last few years, and then but currently I'm at Danville High School and located in Danville, Indiana.
Okay.
It's a little suburb of Indianapolis.
Okay. Yeah. When I was in high school, I went to a school in Columbus, Ohio, and we came over and played Carmel and
Yep,
somebody else in Indianapolis. It was like a top 25 program. That was fun. That was good.
probably
Good.
North
Good.
Central is my
North Central.
guess.
That's who it was. Yep.
Yep,
Excellent. Bingo. You
yep,
nailed it.
yep.
Well, so I want to pick your brain as a high school coach because folks are predominantly it's club, and
Hmm.
when the DA came around and told everybody they couldn't play high school ball, that
Yeah.
kind of really changed the high school soccer landscape. So how much do you help your student athletes with the college selection and college recruiting process, and how do you feel like high school kind of fits into the whole big picture of it?
Yeah, first, I mean, I think there's a place for every kid to play in college. It just depends on what level that they want to um, go to, right? I mean, a lot of kids want to go to Division 1, but you have to open up their eyes and say, NAI level is pretty good too, as is NCAA Division 3, Division 2, even junior college route for some kids. So as far as how I help them, first off, because I do have some experience. Sorry about that. Hang on. I don't know if you can hear. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
I
you're fine.
apologize.
No, I
Um,
only hear you. You're good.
oh, okay. All right, good. Sorry. Um, family's home. um, but as far as how I help them, basically, I sit down with them and say, okay, what are your aspirations? If they're a junior, sophomore, junior in high school, do you have aspirations? And we do that one-on-one. And a lot of kids, for example, where I coach now, they just want to play high school soccer, and some of them have aspirations of playing, at the next level or just playing at the college level. So what I do is sit down with them. We come up with a plan. I encourage them, for example, if they're underclassmen, go attend the camp that maybe you want. Go attend a camp, for example, at a college or university that you maybe want to play at. Write them ahead of time. Tell them, hey, I'm here at camp, whatever. Because I remember when I used to work Notre Dame camps, Mike Berticelli used to always, he used to always have these list of players and say, this player's on your team, this player's on so and so's team. If you can give me some feedback at the end of the week, let me know, or during the week, let me know. So they do look. At least Coach Berticelli did. So I encourage them definitely to reach out to those colleges, connect with them. Then we'll get videos, and then we'll start clipping videos together and editing and making just little vignettes. Definitely, it's come such a long way. The video editing and everything's come such a long way since when I first started. But that was VCR days. So, but I would sit down with them and just say, okay, here's where I see you, but look, at the end of the day, you've got to attend a school that where if soccer doesn't work out, you're happy at the school. My son was a high school soccer player, and he wanted to play, a certain level, and that was the best advice he ever got from one of the coaches. Was like, don't pick the school to play soccer, pick the school because that's where you want to go. Because, and at the time, as a Division 1 program, and the coach said, I might not be here next year. It just depends. So that was the best advice. So I try and give them that advice. But I also try and open up their eyes to other levels. So like I'll meet our kids, for example, and we'll go to an NAIA game because I think a lot of kids don't understand that the level of NAIA ball is. I mean, it's really high high level, as is Division 3 and Division 2 as well. So we'll do that together. But as far as helping them, I do a lot of just one-on-one individual meetings. If I feel like there is a program that a kid might fit into, I'll reach out to that coach. I've been very blessed that, being in the position that I am, I can reach out to people, and most people might relate, oh yeah, this person knows soccer a little bit, So that said, I don't get out and see many college games, right? So I don't know what their level is all the time. I just think I have a good kid, and so I'm going to promote him. I coached a boys team. I did have a young lady, several young ladies that played for me. I also coached high school girls as well. But I will reach out to those coaches if I feel like there's potential. And then we usually just kind of go from there and just try and keep the ball rolling, keep them connected. But as far as, it's different too, because I'm a lay coach now. When I was a high school teacher and a coach in the same building, it was a different, I can meet with that student athlete a lot more than what I do now as a lay coach. So I think that's also a big part of it where, if you're not in the building full time as a teacher or an administrator, you got to put in a few extra hours,
Sure.
off the field.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned, having a son who played, so you kind of went through the process that way. And obviously, as a coach, I'm sure you get to deal with parents too.
Yep.
um, so how can parents really help in this whole process, and what should parents stay away from helping in this whole process?
Well, yeah, as far as parents, how they can help, I mean, just even video, video footage from different camera angles, because a lot of times, when you do the high school games, you get it at one angle, but it's always good to get another angle. So, and then as they're videoing, please don't comment during the videos, because they tend to do that. So that's one thing they can do to help. They can also help, encourage your child to just reach out to schools, that they might be interested in, and also telling the coach, hey, my son is interested or my daughter is interested in playing here. What do you think? Um, and that also kind of goes into what they shouldn't do, right? They shouldn't be contacting that coach, and they shouldn't be contacting, for their athlete. I mean, the athlete needs. I think a lot of college. I was a college coach too for a little bit, and I liked it when athletes took their own initiative and reached out to me, and said, "Hey, I want to play here," as opposed to a parent reaching out to me and saying, my daughter's the best thing, and she scored 95 goals in 3 games, or just something silly. But
Right.
um, yeah, I think that they just be a guide on the side, right? As opposed to being the sage on the stage. I mean, I've always said cream will rise to the top. I mean, the cream rises. If they're going to get somewhere, they're going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And but I think, as coaches, we also have the duty to make sure that our athletes behave in the right way, off the field. I'll share a story with you that Mike Avery, former University of Notre Dame uh, soccer assistant soccer coach and Valparaiso men's soccer coach until they unfortunately dissolved the program, shared a story where he was going out to watch a kid at a high school game, and he actually had permission from Coach Clark to offer this kid a scholarship to Notre Dame, which isn't a cheap school, by the way. And so after the game, Coach Avery said that he watched how the child behaved and how he treated his mom. And I guess he treated his mom really poorly. And so he called Coach Clark and said, we don't want this kid. Right. So there's whatever, you could put a dollar value on it, but that was a lot of money gone. So I share those stories with the kids, just, hey, you don't know who's watching and when they're watching. So I think that's one thing that I try and encourage them to do, and also share that message to the parents as well. That, your behavior on the sideline also sends a story, right, to a potential coach that might be in the stands. So those are things that I might give parents some little tips with. You don't want to, they don't like being educated. They like being informed. But I think, yeah, just giving them those little insights,
No,
and sometimes you have to have heart to heart conversations with them, say, I'm sorry, but your child's not a division. It's just, they're not knocking down your doors. That said, you don't want to discourage a child either from going to play if they want to try. So it's a balance, I think, with parents, because they do have their best interest, in mind, which is getting their child, to where they want to go.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and you kind of mentioned it even in the Valpo story, right, or the
Mm,
Notre Dame
yeah,
story, with someone coming to a high school game, and
yeah,
I've talked to dozens and dozens of coaches, and in our interviews, and they still do go to high school games, right?
yep,
It's
yeah.
not a lost art anymore. So, kind of, what are your thoughts on the whole? How high school soccer fits into the recruiting process, and we've even gotten questions. There's club soccer isn't cheap these days,
Right,
so there may be
right,
families who their only opportunities are really at the school level because of being
right.
priced out of it. So can kids these days play college soccer only playing high school? And I know I kind of asked you a couple questions there, but love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think the more they are involved with both, the better their chances are. Just to be honest, and because a lot of coaches, just don't go and sit at only high school games. A lot of most coaches will go to club events and tournaments because they can see X amount of kids with one shot, with one flight, one hotel, and as opposed to traveling all over the state or the state over to watch a high school game when the high school game might be 9-0, So but that said, the Coach Avery story was at a high school game, right? So he was there to watch his kid. However, this kid also played club soccer. So I think, honestly, the kids that want to go on and play the next level, they should play both. They should try to play both. Obviously as much as they can afford. And but that said, can a player get to college only playing high school soccer? Sure they can. Yeah, if they're a fantastic athlete, student athlete, they just happen to, their team gets far in the tournament, for example, and then now high school coaches start going to those games, to check out some players, because I think, the farther you get in the tournament, state tournament, for example, usually the better your odds. But it's not always true. I mean, there's quite a few kids that I'm aware of, where I coach, where they don't play club soccer, but they're really good high school players, and I've had the high school coaches actually talk to me, and I just said, yeah, this is what you need to do. This kid can play, this kid. And I think this kid would be a really good fit at this school, when they ask me. But I do think these days that you got to have a balance. I think to better your chances, not that it can never happen. But one thing I love about high school soccer is that I've rarely seen a 17-year-old boy or girl weep after their last club game. But I'll watch 17, 18-year-old boys and girls weep and bawl and just, because the passion for playing for their school and their community and the name on the front of their shirt, they play in front of crowds. I mean, talk about preparing them, so there is some value. I think a lot of people put down high school soccer, but there's so much value to high school soccer. And but to answer your question, I think it's best if a player tries to play both if they can.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, you're in this fantastic position in coaching education, which is awesome. And I think most people will agree we need more of it
Yeah.
in the United States. So how can we get more folks educated? I know I'm a board member of our local club, and we've been trying to do more for the volunteer parents, coaching
Yeah.
their 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, and really trying to get them some sort of coaching education. So how can we as a soccer nation really help elevate coaching education and get more folks the right info they need?
Yeah. So one thing that we're trying to do with United Soccer Coaches is regionalize coaching education, and making it more accessible and more affordable for coaches of all levels, not just the recreation coach, but even the college level coach. So we are really identifying people all around the country that we believe can provide education for us at all different levels. So I think that's one thing we need to do. We need to kind of go to them, or decentralize education, if you will. Obviously online is, a great avenue, for people nowadays. And we figured out during the pandemic that we can still learn and function and be educated. But, but nothing replaces live, nothing replaces in-person education, in my opinion. So I think that's part of it. I think we gotta, and I know U.S. Soccer is taking a page out of this too, right? They're arming people to be grassroots instructor licenses. And the other thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get to the clubs, right? So you have you run your local club. Maybe we can, for lack of a better word, deputize you to deliver your own coaching education within your own program. So you wouldn't have to go through a state association, or, you could just contact us, and you've gone through a process to deliver within your own community. We've also started that too, with our member club program. So, but those are some ideas, that I'm always trying to think, how can we get it out there more, like you are, right? And
Yeah.
like you just mentioned, and because it's a ginormous country. It's just huge. I remember when I first met the U.S. soccer people when they took over, And I asked them how it's going, and they just said it's just a big country, because they were coming from Holland and
Yeah.
France, and yeah, I mean, and I said not only that, but there's a lot of different opinions, right? Than just one country, so of Holland or France, but. I think that's really what we have to do. We have to take education to the people, make it more accessible, make it more affordable, and offer it in different ways.
No, I love it. I couldn't agree more. And I love what United Soccer Coaches Education is doing. I got my NSCAA national diploma many moons ago,
Yeah.
and it was excellent. And I know you and I were going to be hanging out in Philly at the
Yeah.
convention here
Yeah.
in less than a month. So, kind of last question, and we'll just leave it with this to get people hyped up. But what kind of education can folks expect for attending coaches that they're going to get out of the convention this year?
Well, I think that the lineup that Dave Simeone, our education person for the convention, has arranged is outstanding. And so, as far as I remember when I was a high school teacher, I used to love going to the convention. And it was just absorbing all the classroom sessions, the field sessions, but it's also the networking that you make, on the sides, and you meet people, and you go to. I think a lot of coaches, not only do they need to go to the sessions, but they need to find like a group, like we have coaching communities. We have the Black Coaches Black Coaches Group. We have the Latino Coaches Group. So I think they should try and go to those groups too. And we have those more available, I believe, this year than before. Well, not that we haven't had them in the past, but I think that's definitely an option for people to do. But as far as what to expect at the convention, it's everything from coaching little ones to the professional athlete, to what we saw in the women's Euros and the World Cup, right, that just ended. You're just going to see everything A to Z, from coaching.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, Discover College Soccer will be on Podcast Row. So if you're at the convention in Philly, enjoy the amazing education lineup and swing by and say hello to us. And Vince, really appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing you again in not too distant future, and really appreciate your insights. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.
The 2023 United Soccer Coaches Convention is coming up fast, and you don't want to miss it. The largest gathering of soccer coaches, administrators, and fans in the world is coming to Philadelphia from January 11th to the 15th. Only at this convention can you attend sessions crafted with your coaching level and desired topics in mind. Presented by world-class educators, our collection of over 200 lecture sessions and field demonstrations will offer every coach something to bring back to their own training sessions. Visit www.unitedsoccercoachesconvention.org to register. Join us as we celebrate our passion for the beautiful game, and we'll see you there.